Hello, welcome to our third video lesson, during which we will continue with our previous topic, the English grammar. Today we will take a look at how to express actions happening in the past. Then I'll tell you about conditional sentences, and finally about modal verbs. We have 5 basic ways of expressing actions happening in the past. We can use the past simple tense, the past continuous tense, the present perfect simple tense, present perfect continuous tense, and the past perfect tense. I'll talk about all of them respectively. The most basic form of expressing the past is the past simple tense. We use it to talk about actions happening in the past that are already finished and don't really have a connection to the present. When using past simple, we put the verbs into their past form. If we have a regular verb, we simply add suffix "ed", for example in listened, cried, suffered, worked, happened, and so on. If the verb we are using is irregular, we use its special past form, such as become, became, say, said, tell, told, put, put, see, saw, and so on. A PDF document with the list of the most common irregular verbs is uploaded on our campus. Please check them out and make sure you know them. Sentences in past simple tense include, for example, I worked at home yesterday. Teacher explained the situation before leaving. Mary went to London last year. He came to school 2 hours ago. Next form of expressing past is the past continuous tense. We use it to talk about activities in progress at a specific time or period of time in the past. Past continuous tense uses the past form of the verb to be and a verb with suffix ing. For example, Peter was working in France last year. I was watching TV when the phone rang. When Peter came home, Mary was sleeping. Yesterday afternoon, I was reading a book, so I didn't go out with friends. We can also express past actions using the present perfect simple tense. In this tense, we put have or has before the past participle form or third form of a verb, for example, shaken, spoken, run, and so on. We use present perfect simple to talk about events in recent past which still affect the present or in the time up to now, or for finished actions in the past that are still important. Often we use words like ever, never, recently, often, just, already, or yet. For example, Ben has never been to Africa. You are late, but the exam has not started yet. Let me rest for a bit. I have just arrived. We've already seen Star Wars. Let's watch something else. Next form of expressing the past is the present perfect continuous tense. In present perfect continuous, we use the verb have or has, followed by word been, and by a verb with suffix ing. We use this tense for talking about activities that started in past and are still in progress, or for recently finished activities whose results or effects are clear now. For example, Paul has been playing piano all morning. He has a concert next week. John has not been attending lectures lately. Do you think he's coming tomorrow? We've been walking too slowly and now we are late. And lastly, we can also use the past perfect tense to talk about the past. In past perfect, we use the verb had, the past form of to have, followed by past participle of a verb. We use this form when we talk about past and want to refer to something that happened even before then. For example, I missed the train yesterday. When I arrived at the station, it had already left. Anne had eaten before Mike came home. They didn't want to sell the house because they had owned it for over 40 years. Sue had never been to opera before last night. Let's move to conditional sentences. We use conditional sentences to talk about real or hypothetical results of real or hypothetical actions. Typically, conditional sentences have two parts. The if part, which states the condition, and the then part, which states the result. There are four basic types of conditional sentences: the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. Zero conditional is used for talking in the present about real factual situations, about general truths, automatic responses, things you are 100% sure about, or things that happen always or usually. In zero conditional, both the if part and the then part use the present tense. For example, my parents always get angry if I come home late. If I drink coffee at night, I usually don't sleep well. If I don't catch the bus at 7, I'm always late. Then we have the first conditional. First conditional is used for talking about future real or factual situations or strong possibilities. In the first conditional, the if part of the sentence is in present tense and the then part is in future tense. For example, if Mark gets the stipend, he will buy a new car. Don't worry, if you study, you will pass that exam. We will not get there on time if we don't leave now. In second conditional, the if part of the sentence is in the past tense, and the then part uses would followed by a verb in present tense. Instead of would, we can also use modal verbs might or could. Also, in the if part, we use the subjunctive form of the verb, which is most obvious in first and third person singular of verb to be. We say if I were, or if he, she, it were. The second conditional is used for talking about present or future, unreal, imaginary, unlikely situations, or to give advice. For example, If I were you, I would go to college. If you won the lottery, you could buy a new house. If I saw a zombie, I would run as fast as I can. In the third conditional, the if part is in past perfect and the then part usually uses modal verb would, followed by present perfect form. Modal verbs might or could can also be used instead of would. We use this form for talking about past, unreal, or imaginary actions or situations that cannot happen because the if did not happen. For example, if the rescue team had found him earlier, they might have been able to save his life. If he had studied harder, he could have worked in an office now. If I hadn't broken my leg, I would have gone skiing. Our final topic today are the modal verbs. Modal verbs are the helping verbs. They express possibility, probability, ability, necessity, duty, or obligation. They cannot stand alone. Usually in a sentence, the subject is followed by a modal verb, which is then followed by the main verb. The most common modal verbs are will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, or must, and their negative forms. Let's have a few examples. For example, I will meet you tomorrow, but I hoped I would see you today. I don't have much toilet paper left. I should go buy some. Oh, I don't have any left. I must go buy some. Where are you? I can't see you. I can bring you the book if you want. I could also try to find the bookmark, but I haven't seen it for a while. You may call me Lenka. You might want to study more if you want to pass the exam. And then there are other focuses for which we can use the modal verbs. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for your attention and see you in class.